Today on Political Access, it's going to be Bill Maher for the Democrats up against Ron DeSantis for the Republicans. This was another one suggested to me in the comments, and I think I'm able to do it. I've seen enough Bill Maher to know what he's all about. And what is he all about? Well, at one point he was a Bernie fan. Then he did seem to support Amy Klobuchar. And for the most part, I think he's your typical liberal Democrat, except he does push back on the excesses of the left-wing identity politics or the political correctness or the wokeness. So that is one appeal to Bill Maher to bring over some potential Republicans or voters in the middle. Now, he's also known for his lax drug policy, and I don't know where he stands on every issue, but of course he's not in politics. I really don't know how he would actually run a campaign, so I think a lot of voters would not take him seriously. Maybe he does build up a great campaign, but I think Ron DeSantis, he's going to have all the donors, he's going to have all the infrastructure in place to run a national campaign. He's already pretty much doing it right now. I think both candidates have pretty good name recognition. So I think we can dive right into this one. We'll start in Alaska, and that's going to go safe for Ron DeSantis. Hawaii, that's going to be safe for Maher. Back up to the West Coast, Washington, Oregon, California. Those are states that would go big for Bill Maher. Now we've got Nevada. This is a tough call. It's a purplish state. I'm not really confident in this rating. I do see Maher speaking to some of those disaffected Democrats who want to move away from identity politics that have dominated institutions associated with the left. But I think Maher, not being a politician and probably having to be coerced into running in the first place, I do think that would cost him 1 or 2 points. And in this matchup, I have it going to Ron DeSantis by a tilt margin. Idaho and Utah safe for DeSantis. Arizona, I think in this matchup, Maher would be a little bit too far to the left or a little bit too unorthodox, and DeSantis would win this by 1 to 3 points, so it's going to go leans for DeSantis. Montana, Wyoming, safe for DeSantis. Colorado, that's a good state for Maher. He would clear that by low double digits. Safe for Maher. New Mexico, that's another mid-single digit likely margin for Maher. North and South Dakota, safe for DeSantis. Nebraska at large, safe for DeSantis. The 2nd District, that's the Omaha District. It was redistricted slightly more GOP friendly, and it's another toss-up district for me. It's trending away from the Republicans. Is Maher the right guy to speak to those voters? I'm not sure, but I did give it to him by a tilt margin. Kansas and Oklahoma safe for DeSantis. Texas, yet again, that's going to go likely for the Republican, Ron DeSantis. Up to Minnesota, that'll be mid-single digits, 5 to 6 points, likely for Maher. Let's go on to Iowa, and that's another state that the Democrats have really lost their grip on, and this would go to Ron DeSantis by a likely margin. Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, safe for DeSantis. Let's cross the Mississippi, go up to Wisconsin, and this is a tough call as we get more into the Rust Belt. I'm not sure exactly how this would go. I think, again, Maher does speak to some of the cultural concerns of a lot of the working class voters in these states. Where would Maher and DeSantis actually come down on some of the economic concerns, like expanding and funding healthcare, the Ukraine war, and trade policy? I think it's unclear how they would come down. So with all that said, given the trends and given the state, my best guess is Ron DeSantis would win Wisconsin by a tilt margin. Illinois, safe for Bill Maher. Let's go to Michigan. Here we are with another tough call. And again, all things considered, the makeup of the state, the turnout from both of these candidates, I think it would lead to Bill Maher winning it by a tilt margin. Indiana, safe for DeSantis. Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, safe for Ron DeSantis. How about DeSantis' home state of Florida? Well, this one actually went back and forth on. Not in terms of who wins it, that's easily going to DeSantis. I was on the border between likely and safe. I had it at likely, but I ended up thinking DeSantis would probably get this just over 10, maybe 11 points. And I gave it to him by a safe margin. Let's go one state north to Georgia. This is a state we know that's trended toward the Democrats. The Atlanta suburbs, that's the problem for the Republicans. In this matchup, I think Bill Maher, not being a politician, maybe some of his views would maybe not mesh as well as they would with some typical Democrats. So I do think they would go a couple points back toward the Republican side. I think DeSantis would get good turnout in the red Trump counties. And in this matchup, I have DeSantis winning it by a leans margin, probably 1 to 2 points. South Carolina, safe for DeSantis. North Carolina, this would be about 4.5, maybe 5 points, leans for DeSantis. Let's go to Ohio, that'll be likely for DeSantis. West Virginia, very safe for DeSantis. Up to Maine, at large, likely for Maher, probably about 5 to 6 points. 1st District, safe for Maher. 2nd District, likely for DeSantis. How about New Hampshire? This is another state. Given these two candidates, it's tough to really predict. I think it's become just a little bit too tough for the Republicans to win. I do have it going to Bill Maher by a low single-digit margin, so leans for Maher. Vermont, New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. safe for Maher. Now we've got Pennsylvania. This is another state that's very difficult, just like Wisconsin and Michigan. I think Maher would do a little bit worse than a typical Democrat, but I still have him winning it by a tilt margin. Finally, the last state is Virginia, and that is going to go likely for Bill Maher. And there's your map, and that comes out to 278 for Ron DeSantis, 260 for Bill Maher. Ron DeSantis wins this election, but it's narrow. So I kind of already explained everything throughout the video. Bill Maher, I don't think he would be a bad candidate. He would definitely be an outsider, so it would be tough to imagine the establishment really getting behind him. I think he would probably get enough progressive turnout, but on some of the real progressive economic issues, like Medicare for all, student loan forgiveness, I think he would disappoint some of those hardline progressives. On the cultural stuff, he would get some points back, but I think Ron DeSantis, being a more well-experienced politician, and DeSantis being a relatively strong GOP candidate, that would give him an extra couple of points across most of these states. I think he would do well enough with independents, suburban voters, and that would give him states like Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia. The Rust Belt, that is up in the air. I'd love to see these two go at it in a debate, talk about trade, talk about economics, wages, abortion, immigration, crime, etc. I think that would be highly entertaining, but this is a good battle. I was not sure on some of these states. You could take this in several different routes. I tried to do it as fair as I could and assume Bill Maher runs a serious national campaign, but it all would come down to the issues. And I don't think either of them would be too afraid to go after some of the hot-button issues that most establishment politicians would shy away from. So DeSantis would get the support from the establishment. I don't know if Maher would be able to do it. That's one of the big unknowns in this race. But this is the map I settled on. Let me know in the comments, do you mostly agree with these states, or would you change 5 or 10 of these states? Let me know down below. On your way out, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. Follow me on Twitter. Thank you for watching. I will see you on the next video.